discuss Blinken's visit to the Middle East and more is Jonathan Tobin, editor-in-chief of the Jewish News Syndicate. Jonathan, is there anything to indicate that Hamas wants a two-state solution?
Absolutely not. There's no ambiguity about that. It's in their charter. It's in their every statement. It's in every action. Their goal is very clear. It's the destruction of Israel, the genocide of its Jewish population. They're not interested in two states. Honestly, the more moderate Palestinian Authority, though at times it has said as if it might be interested, has never accepted numerous offers of peace for two states, because it would require them to live in peace alongside a Jewish state no matter where its borders would be drawn. So two states is a theoretical idea, but it is not one that the Palestinians, whether the Islamists or the moderates, have ever been willing to accept, not in 1947, not in 2000, not in 2008, and certainly not in 2024.
And yet those calling for a ceasefire really are leaning into that idea of the possibility of a two-state solution. So it's an interesting point that you're making there. I just want to look now at the situation of the surrounding countries. Has there been any pressure on Egypt to, let in refugees from Gaza? How is that situation going?
Well, I think Israel would like Egypt to let in refugees, but I think, and the United States may have asked them, but Egypt has no intention of doing so. They are deathly afraid of Hamas and of the fact that, Palestinian refugees from Gaza would be likely to be Hamas supporters. Hamas is a branch of the Muslim Brotherhood, which is the party which the current government of Egypt overthrew. It's an Islamist totalitarian party, and the military government of Egypt, and quite frankly, the majority of the Egyptian people, want nothing to do with it, and they're very adamant. They won't let any Palestinians in. They want nothing to do with the Palestinians. That's that's not very humanitarian. But Egypt has never been judged along those lines. The blockade between Egypt and Gaza has been far more airtight over the years than Israel's efforts to limit the ability of Hamas to import weapons and arms. But Egypt gets a pass from everybody.
And how about the rest of the
Israel.
countries in the region? Has anyone else taken in Palestinian refugees in the region?
Well, not in the last 5 months, and more or less not ever. The rest of the Arab world is utterly indifferent to the Palestinians, except as sort of as something to talk about. But I think we have to also understand that as much as the Arab governments in the Gulf and elsewhere sometimes will talk a very good game about supporting the Palestinians, the right of the Palestinians to have a state. And indeed, the Biden administration has said that, well, if Israel will accept a two-state solution, then the Saudis will recognize Israel. The truth is, while the Saudis have very good under-the-table relations with Israel, see them as a tacit military ally against their real enemy, Iran, the Saudis have no interest in the creation of another unstable, really failed Arab state in the region, let alone one that is likely to be dominated by groups like Hamas, which are Islamist, a danger to them, and also allied with their deadly foe, Iran. So
the U.S. has taken on, the role of providing aid to Israel. How much, material support does Israel need to accomplish its goals in this war? And why do you think the U.S. is the one leading the way in this?
Well, Israel needs arms and ammunition. Modern warfare, especially when you're trying to be very careful, as Israel does, despite the lies about Israel committing genocide. They've expended a lot of, ammunition. They've expended, the Iron Dome missiles, which protect the Israeli people against the rockets that are sent from both Hezbollah and Hamas. I say this now, unfortunately, as the Israelis have really started to recognize, Israel is completely dependent on U.S. arms. And the United States has wanted it that way. It has always wanted Israel to be dependent on Washington for arms. I should add that it's, as much as we hear a lot about the money that is given to Israel for military aid, $3.8 billion a year, that sounds like a lot. Almost every penny of it is spent in the United States. It's really an aid package for U.S. arms manufacturers as much as anything else. And of course, it pales besides the amount of aid that the United States has given Ukraine in the last 2 years.
Jonathan Tobin, we have to wrap up there. Thank you so much, Editor-in-Chief of the Jewish News Syndicate. Great to speak with you.
Thank you.